sector. Thank you. Thanks.
21 minutes past 6. As part of our coverage of the election campaign, Steph's going out and about with her trusty Stephometer to find out what you're thinking about the economy.
Yes, and today she's in Ballymena in Northern Ireland, looking at the wages and the cost of living, and she joins us right now. Morning to you.
Good morning to you. Morning, everybody. Yes, I'm at the Galgorm Hotel in Ballymena, as you say, in County Antrim. It's about 30 miles northwest of Belfast. It wasn't that long ago in here that there were some people getting married, and I have to say a few of them have only just left, but the team here are busily getting the operations ready for the next wedding, which is going to be happening in this room a bit in a moment. Now, as you can imagine, this is a busy operation. There are some 300 staff who are working here to make sure all of the weddings, events and the day-to-day visitors are well looked after. So as you can imagine, they are pretty busy here this morning. They could do without me here, I'll tell you that. But the reason why I'm here is to talk about wages, because the hospitality sector, despite employing lots of people, doesn't have the best reputation in terms of pay. I'm going to be talking more about that a bit later on. But if you look at average wages at the moment, they have been going up. The latest figures show that wages in the 3 months to the end of March went up 2.1%. But of course, there's a lot of catching up to do, because for a long time the cost of living has been a lot higher, going up a lot faster than wages. So for lots of people, they haven't felt better off. So the other big thing is the fact that we're talking about an average when we're talking about these figures. This 2.1% will feel very different depending on what type of job you are in. So I went back to my hometown of Middlesbrough. I took the Stephometer there to ask people what they think about pay.
This is the Transporter, standing proudly over the River Tees, and when I see it on the horizon, I know I'm home. It's here in Middlesbrough where the famous explorer Captain Cook was born, and also where I grew up. This town, like many areas in the northeast, is heavily reliant on the public sector for jobs, and over the last 5 years it's been really tough as many people have had their wages frozen. Well, now the official statistics say that pay is going up, but is that the reality here? When you think of people who earn loads of money, footballers will be up there. So I decided to bring my Stephometer to a match to see my beloved borough playing Wigan. I wanted to ask how people here feel about pay.
They've stayed low for a long time now. I know I was made redundant a while ago, and even finding a new job you have to lower your salary expectations.
I work in an education company, so mainly primary school education, but over the past few years I'd say they've gone up.
Can I put it sort of in the middle with everyone else?
Oh, quite high, that.
What do you think type of wages, Ruby? Do I give you more pocket money or less pocket money every week?
Put it about there. Ooh, Ruby, that is good. Thank you very much.
For most people, wages haven't gone up as fast as our household bills for the last few years. So I caught up with the Clare family on their way to the match. Caroline and her husband Mike have 3 kids and know all about wage pressures.
Caroline, you work in the public sector, don't you? What's it been like?
It's been really tough. No promises more of pay rises, being asked to do more. It's very rare that you get to finish on time because you wouldn't leave somebody, a patient who needed your care.
And Mike, you're in the private sector, so how does that compare? What's it been like for you?
Well, I work in the oil industry, so for several years it was okay, but the oil price, as everyone knows, has plummeted, and that's had an immediate knock-on effect. There's no wage rise this year. There's a lot of guys lost their jobs. There's a lot of contracts being changed for the worse.
And Paige, let me talk to you as well, because you are a student and you've got a couple of part-time jobs. What's it been like for you in terms of money?
Well, because I've got a couple of part-time jobs, I'm quite fortunate, but within the part-time jobs, the hours I get like 3 hours a week, so I'm quite worried about how I'm going to be able to afford things, like if my mum can support me, things like that.
Having more money in your pocket is clearly good for the economy, if it means we spend more. But the worry is whether we can actually afford to give people higher salaries. Steph McGovern, BBC News.
So there you go, some of the thoughts from people in Middlesbrough. I have to say, we did win that match as well, so I think the Stephometer helped. But what was interesting was what people were saying when they worked in the public sector versus the private sector. And a bit later on in the programme, I'm going to be talking to small business owners and also to someone from a living wage charity about whether we can actually afford to give pay rises and what a decent pay rise would be. But before I go, have a look at that fruit. How amazing is that? Come and have a little look. Talk about that for decorating your fruit, your watermelon.
Steph,
this man here has been hard at work doing that. We'll have more funny fruit for you a bit later on.
I was looking at that. I think it's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much, Steph. See you later.
Funny fruits. What breakfast television is all about, really, isn't it? Yes. All right. Thanks.